Hello everyone, it's been a while. It's been a little bit since I've made a video. This is probably going to be a little rusty, and we'll get through it together, most likely. So this video is going to be the basic, standard YouTube affair of why I stopped making videos, and why I haven't been active in the hobby, and it's going to be that kind of deal. And my cat is going to keep bumping the camera stand. She's happy now. Before I can get into all of that, it is important that I give backstory. I've never shared why I started making videos to begin with. It's never something I've talked about in a video, mostly because I've never liked... Oh, no, my other cat wants to bother me now. Hi, baby. Say hi, Wade! Or don't. That works too. But I've never shared why I made videos to begin with and what my reasoning for being in the hobby is. And it goes back really far back to the beginning of time. Actually, not quite that far back, but pretty close to the beginning of time for me. As a young kid, my parents had a fish tank in our house, and I have some mixed emotions on this tank. It's sort of like a bittersweet, like the childhood fish tank, you know, it was the gravel and plastic plants affair, and I don't even know how old I would have been. Maybe like, oh gosh, 6 or 7, maybe. Yeah, probably about like that. We had this fish tank, and specifically, I remember always going to the fish store. We go to the fish store, and this particular local store, which doesn't exist anymore, had it was like divided. So the front half of the store was saltwater fish, like the saltwater section, and the back half of the store was the freshwater fish, and then we had a little freshwater tank. So you have to go past the saltwater fish every time you go into the store. And being a little kid, it's the, oh my goodness, look at these really cool, brightly colored saltwater fish, right? And then you get to the freshwater fish and that kind of deal. So I think that may have inadvertently started my entire obsession with fish. So as like a big send-off in the 5th grade, one of our assignments was a science fair project. In the 5th grade, we had to come up with a science fair project. And I honestly have no idea where I got this idea from. But I left school that day thinking about my project and what I wanted it to be. And I had the idea, don't know from where, but I wanted to compare, do saltwater fish prefer natural reefs or artificial reefs? And I think I did it probably at least half maliciously so I could have a saltwater fish tank, because I was like, oh my gosh, this is the perfect opportunity. My childhood dream of having these cool saltwater fish. Now it's a school thing. My parents can say, no, it's a school thing, right? So I did this entire science fair project on this subject. We set up, my parents did most of the heavy lifting because I was, 11 or 12. But we had this 29-gallon saltwater aquarium, and we set up half the tank had live rock, and the other half had these little artificial inserts. So me and my dad, we made this PVC tower. This study was not very scientific and would not hold up in a publication, but that's fine. Eventually, we swapped it to and this is the coolest thing. Wait, hold on. I gotta get insert. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. I brought a visual aid. This is probably one of my most prized possessions. This is an actual reef ball, which might not mean something to a lot of people watching this. I have no idea, but to me, this is one of the coolest things that I own. I think my parents must have reached out and they sent like this box of stuff. It was There's like DVDs and pamphlets and I don't even remember what else. But then there's this, a miniature reef ball. It was in the box sent by the group. So as far as I'm concerned, this is an authentic reef ball. I'm very proud of the reef ball. But we had this thing. It was in the 29-gallon tank, and we eventually took it out and swapped it. It is part of the experiment, right? So we have a few pictures of this in a fish tank. It was pretty cool. And we had that saltwater tank probably about I want to say a year. But we had this reef tank. We had some coral in it. We had clownfish. We had the standard affair, right? And I loved this tank. It was really cool. But being 11, 12, you lose interest in things. And it wasn't until probably a year or two later that I started getting back into fish. And what got me back into it was actually keeping bettas in a bowl. Yes, we went from the nice saltwater reef tank to bettas in bowls. It's a bit of a weird story. Look, I know now, don't keep your bettas in tiny unheated bowls. They need heat and life and, enrichment and things like that. Very important. We had bettas, and it started seeding into my mind the idea of, man, wouldn't it be nice to have a saltwater fish tank again? And I think I remember asking my parents for a saltwater tank for about a year. And it wasn't until 8th grade, so fast forward quite a few years, that my parents finally indulged me. They got this used 72-gallon bow front saltwater aquarium that I had set up until I graduated high school. I had it, what had been 5 years. It was around this time that I really started to think about, what do I want to do with my life? What kind of career do I want to go down? What do I want to do for work? Things like that. And at this point, it was like, yeah, I'll do marine biology. Another little important detail to the story is that I grew up in the Midwest, right in the middle of Missouri, in the Midwest, completely landlocked. No access to the coast, no access to the ocean. My only real exposure to it, to anything really, was through fish and keeping aquariums. That was it. So I decided I wanted to do this as a career, marine biology, and my dad came up with the idea that I should blog my fish tank. Now, originally I had a written blog, which is actually in the description of some of my original YouTube videos, but I also wanted to do YouTube because growing up as a kid at this point, YouTube was like a big deal. I loved watching YouTube, and I would watch YouTubers keep fish, and I was like, yeah, this makes total sense. So that is why I started making YouTube videos, was as a means to progress my early career in marine biology, so that way I could put it on my resume, I could put it on like college applications and be like, look at this, I'm really passionate about this field, look at all this cool stuff I'm doing. And that's what it was. So that is why I made a YouTube channel. When I graduated high school, I did not give up on this goal. I went to the University of Tampa to pursue my education in marine biology, which I did. I graduated in 2020 during the early peak of the pandemic. That was a really fun time with my degree in marine biology. And all the way through this point, I kept fish. I think I made some videos I had a fish tank in college. I had it in my dorm room. It was the coolest aquarium I've ever had. It was this 10-gallon planted tank, CO2, auto feeders, timers, the whole deal. I had a carpet of Monte Carlo and all these stem plants growing out the top of the tank. I had Blue Dream, Neocaridina shrimp, and this would have been 2010s, like 2016, 2017-ish. So these were like, this was, I don't know, they were still pretty like, I don't say rare, but like a nice Neocaridina shrimp was really cool back then. So I'd sell some of these to get some stuff to local fish stores. It's pretty cool. But I kept fish all the way through this. I was making videos on occasion. I wasn't very consistent. I was in school full time. And then I graduated in the pandemic, which really impacted where everything went afterwards. After that, I ended up having to move back home, back to landlocked Missouri, in the pandemic with a degree in marine biology, with the knowledge that I needed to get a job so I could pay back my student loans. This enters into the career portion of today's talk. And my first job was at a local fish store. It was an interesting experience. Maybe I'll talk about that in a separate video. I don't think it's terribly important to this. But post-graduation, the first job I was able to find was a aquarium maintenance job with a local aquarium maintenance company. And I think I did it for like a month and a half. Maybe, I don't remember. It wasn't very long. But I did this for a little bit. But I was offered a job at biomedical research. But then I was offered a job there, working in their zebrafish department. Now, zebrafish is just a different word for zebra danios. The basic, $1.90, the 99-cent fish you see at the pet store, right? The super easy to keep zebrafish, zebra danio. And I was like, great, this is perfect. This needs a degree. I have an applicable degree. This uses aquarium experience, which I have a lot of. Perfect fit. So that started my career in biomedical research, which is going to be a lot of what I'm going to talk about for a bit. I did that job for about a year, and then, it was a year, and then we moved to Atlanta, Georgia. Now there, they didn't have a zebrafish department yet, but they were in talks with doing it. So they kind of brought me in, I think, doing something else to maybe eventually be the person to do that. So I started working, and I worked with their colony, I did their colony health surveillance, which was monitoring health on the mice and rats. I need to take a little bit of a tangent to address the elephant in the room of working in biomedical research and experimenting on animals. I know this is a controversial subject, it's a controversial line of work, it's a controversial subject matter, a lot of people don't like it. So I'm not going to talk about that side of things here because this video is too long. If people want it, maybe I'll talk about that in a separate video. But like about that industry and stuff like that. But I did this job for 2-ish years, basically, and then I left that position to do a zebrafish position. And at that point, when they started talking to me and people were trying to talk to me about, hey, we're going to open up a position to do zebrafish, and actually hire someone for it, because I think they had brought in zebrafish at this point. Obviously, everyone was going to talk to me about it, because I was one of the few people there who had experience. At this point, I've been posting videos and doing this. I've done events, and I've been involved in like the local Georgia club. And it was kind of all around this time when it was, oh crap, like I'm going to be doing this. Like this is full time working with fish. I've been doing a lot more fish and getting the business and YouTube side of things going, breeding fish and going to sell at events and stuff. I kind of panicked. And in my panic, I just was like, I can't do the videos anymore. I can't do the YouTube stuff. I can't do the club. Like, this is going to be way too much. And in hindsight, looking back on it, I needed to do lots of emotional and personal development at this point. And I think it was the combination of me brushing that off, taking on a whole bunch of stuff with the YouTube side of things, and really like doing more and more with that, then facing the prospect of, oh my gosh, this is going to be my day job. And really, when you're working with live animals and stuff, it's day job, but then it's on call and what happens on the weekend or when there's an emergency, there's an expectation that you're gonna work what needs to be worked kind of deal. And I just kind of panicked. And I stopped YouTube, I stopped the business side of thing, stopped going to the local club, and I kind of just went all in on work, career side of what I've been doing. It took a long time to process everything. It wasn't all bad at this point. I feel like a lot of it wasn't great, but not all of it was bad. Me and Sunshine got married, got the Reno. But we got married, which was great. I loved it. I love her. Sunshine's amazing. She's not here right now. It's just me filming this. But she's still around. So it was kind of during these last few years when I haven't been posting anything, it has been a huge period of learning a lot about myself. A lot of things that I would say are good about myself and things I needed to work on personally. And a hard one for me was fish and the YouTube stuff, because dropping it like that really messed me up emotionally. Now, I was already in a bad place emotionally at the time, but processing what I had done and kind of why I left and leaving it the way I did was really hard on me. And I really regret doing it. I regret leaving YouTube. Sunshine felt bad. I felt awful. I still feel awful. And I think it's one of those reasons it's taken so long to get to the point where I could make this video. I think if I look back at myself like 3 months ago, 6 months ago, I could not have done this. Corey from Aquarium Co-op said, I think he said it multiple times, but I think it's one of his older videos. It was, I think he was doing a Q&A. I can't remember the video, don't ask. I have no idea. But he was talking and someone asked a question of like, it was, why do you keep fish at home? Like, you have a fish store, you own this fish store, why do you keep fish at home? And he was like, there should always be a hobby. And like the fish store is not the hobby. Like, he has fish tanks at home because that's the hobby. It should always be fun. And that's what I started telling myself, that I should always do fish at home. Regardless of whatever happens, I need to keep fish and make a hobby out of it and enjoy it. And that is important to me. And during these few years, I betrayed that. And I didn't have a hobby. It wasn't fun for me anymore. And a lot of the reason it was no longer fun for me was because of the career. I said I wasn't going to talk about biomedical research as a field, and I'm not. But suffice it to say, the field is tricky for me to navigate. Not in the sense that it's a hard, well, it is a hard field to be in. It is a very difficult field to be in. It's a very niche field. And especially in the United States, it's a very niche field. But it just kind of burned out my interest in aquatics, the hobby, the whole 9 yards. And I had to get out. Sunshine got a really great opportunity. We've moved to a different state. We're now in Virginia. Yay! We like it here. It's very nice. It took a long time for us to get out. A very long time. And there's more to this than what I'm saying, but it's all besides the point of, here I am making this video, talking to you guys about why I love fish, and also what got me into fish in the first place. I think it's important to know the story and to tell you guys who I really am and why I do this. I love keeping fish. This, aquatics, there is no killing that inside of me. No matter how bad things got. There were dark days, I'm not gonna lie, when I thought I was never gonna keep fish again, but I couldn't keep that for long because I knew that deep down, I love this. I love aquatics. I love the science. I love the biology. I love the artistry, the mechanics, the whole deal. And there is no killing that part of me. So, what is the future? I don't know. I don't know what the future is going to be. I'm rediscovering the hobby. Not in the sense that, to an extent it is because I'm a little rusty, but it's also because my thought process when it comes to the hobby and aquatics in general has shifted. I think coming back into the hobby sphere, it is what do I want to incorporate versus, like, what was I doing before, what didn't I like, and what I want to do going forward. And I need to rediscover the hobby, my enjoyment, my passions, and I need to be open to trying new things and seeing if I like them, seeing if I don't like them. And that's what the channel is going to be. I don't have a schedule in mind. I'm going to make videos when I can make them. Things are still very up in the air. Not like in the sense of will I make videos, but it's going to be more just how much time am I going to put into it? I don't know. I need to rediscover it, and part of that rediscovery of the hobby is also the rediscovery of doing YouTube. Thank you to everybody who has watched this video. I'm sorry for how long this has probably been. I don't know what I'm going to edit this down to, but thank you for watching. And if you're new to the channel, if you've been around for a long time, just know I appreciate each and every one of you for watching and commenting and interacting. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.